Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Flame Emperor episode number 410 based on novel. So let's start. Xiao Yan bid farewell to the huge army behind him and stepped directly into the forest of death. Since this thing is the evil tool of the evil scholar, how can it contain the power of darkness? The power of darkness is something related to the underworld. How can the evil races outside the realm be contaminated? Xiao Yan was vigilant about his surroundings, but he communicated with the dark underworld priest in private through the branding of his palm. I don't know, but in the first battle of heaven and earth, the foreign evil race fought with countless powerful people in the world, and with some highly intelligent creatures. I am afraid that this thing was secretly fused with dark power and evil power. Product. The power is infinite. Even if I don't know the specific secrets, you should be more careful. Dark Hades also shook his head. The chessboard of life and death, using everyone on both sides as a bargaining chip in the battle of life and death chessboard. Once either side fails, all the powerhouses behind will be completely deprived of all vitality by the power of evil tools. Even if they are immortal, they cannot escape this law of heaven and earth. The oppression of this evil tool can't be broken even by gathering the strength of all of us. It's really tricky. After a brief understanding, Xiao Yan also figured out the evil tool of the evil scholar, the power of the chessboard of life and death. Wong buzzing. As soon as the voice fell, the passage behind Xiao Yan disappeared completely, leaving only the blood-dripping soil under his feet, which squirmed like a stream of quicksand, transmitting a trace of evil power to Xiao Yan. On top of his body, there was a suffocating aura, like greedy worms, trying to devour Xiao Yan's power and corpse. Xiao Yan felt this suffocating power and couldn't help but jump up tightly. He wanted to use his strength, but found that he had no choice but to endure it forcibly. The power of darkness. Feeling the huge threat Xiao Yan was facing, the brand on Xiao Yan's handprint became pitch black. After a while, the dark warrior turned into a layer of dark armor, protecting Xiao Yan's entire body, and Xiao Yan was under pressure just now. Greatly reduced. Looking up, there is something similar to a chessboard 1,000 meters away, and the ghost of the evil scholar is also flickering slightly, where the stairs connect the top of the forest of death, and the position of the chessboard of life and death. That is Xiao Yan's final destination. Xiao Yan tried to walk some distance and found that he could not use any of his own power, whether it was fighting chi, holy flame, soul power, or even the magic cube, all quieted down. Obviously, the darkness and evil forces in the forest of death converged, forming a true heart of trance imprisonment. You can't go back, you can only go forward. Then let me come and meet you. Every time Xiao Yan took a step, the blood and soil behind him seemed to evaporate like a human world, and his eyes became sharp. Slowly moving forward, the suffocation in the surrounding air became thicker and thicker, making Xiao Yan, a veteran of the battlefield, feel nauseous, and even a trace of dark matter sand slowly entered Xiao Yan's line of sight. Among them, with the protection of the dark underworld, the dark sand grains did not enter Xiao Yan's body. Instead, there was some kind of power in Xiao Yan's body that made them quite familiar. The further forward, the more Xiao Yan could clearly feel the innate power in the forest of death, and the white bones under his feet had already turned into piles of dust. Xiao Yan could clearly feel the thirst for life of the powerhouses in the fallen dust, and the deep-rooted fear on their faces when they died. None of them emerged in Xiao Yan's heart. While walking around, Xiao Yan has come to the middle of the forest of death. This is a quiet forest. There are many trees in the forest, but there is no vitality. Instead, there is only a dead silence that is extremely quiet. The trees are twisted and prostrate, and the shape is strange, even like a human body. A monster state has everything. This level of evil equipment is definitely not within the control of an 8-star fighting immortal. I suspect that this evil equipment was stolen by an evil and charming scholar. Even if it is protected by the dark armor of the dark underworld, Xiao Yan is also a burst of energy. The scalp is numb. It seems that as long as he takes one wrong step, he may fall into the endless abyss. Master, it seems that there is no way ahead. The voice of the dark priest reminded him in Xiao Yan's mind. There are 10 steps here. As long as you step here, you can break through the forest of death. Bless me. Xiao Yan smiled casually, and immediately took a light step. The first step is to step on the steps. There is only one step, it is easy to step on it, and nothing happens. The second step, the wrong step, I'm afraid. Xiao Yan looked at the 2 identical stone steps in front of him, carefully observed it, and after the observation was fruitless, he could only shake his head. I am the hope of the entire ancient clan. If I take a wrong step, I may stay here forever. Although there is a power of darkness here, and it may be possible to use this to lead to the underworld, but at that time, Xiao Yang would probably become a creature in the underworld, not a human being. This time Xiao Yang looked vigilant, and suddenly stepped on the stairs to the left. After resting, the figure stood firm, nothing happened. Xiao Yang just stepped on the stone steps to the third. The first step on the stone steps, 1. The second step on the stone steps, the second. The ninth step on the stone steps was as many as 256. The last step, 512. He walked to the last step without any danger. At this time, Xiao Yang was relieved and didn't think much, just closed his eyes and walked away at the last step at will. Go! Crack! There was no error in 9 consecutive steps, but there was a problem in this last step. Endless grains of dark matter and suffocation roared out at the same time gave Xiao Yang an extremely strong pressure for a while, and 2 terrifying forces made Xiao Yang's whole body torn apart. It cracked, and it seemed that the next moment would be smashed to pieces by these 2 forces. No, I can't die here. The power of clan marks. The power of the Xiao family's bloodline, dragon god transformation, the pattern of dominance. Feeling the unrivaled power of 2 forces, Xiao Yang used his last resort. The terrifying power on Xiao Yang's body had just been released, but those dark sand grains were suddenly stuck in the air. It seemed that the power on Xiao Yang's body made him very familiar. After the blink of an eye, the dark sand changed the target of the attack. It turned around 180 degrees, easily swallowing the suffocation, and then quietly dispersed. Strange, what exactly is this kind of power? Xiao Yang was prepared to fight with death, but he couldn't help but wonder when he saw that the dark sand grains would actually help him. 12-fingered chess, there are 12 pieces in total. After the pieces are screened, we can rearrange and play dark chess. 1 of the emperors or kings, 2 guards, 1 sacrifice, 2 generals, 2 corpses, 2 scouts, 1 sentry, and 1 ghost. The emperor is the core of my black side, and the king is the core of your white side. Once one of the emperors or kings dies, the outcome will be divided. Each piece has its own unique characteristics. The maximum distance of the pieces cannot exceed 3 squares. A with an attack power of 1 attacks other pawns. Except for the special pawn, the defense power of the attacked is 0, and each attack will lose a drop of health. If the attacked piece's attack power is greater than that of the attacking piece, or the defense power is greater than that of the attacking piece, the damage will be reflected. Guards, specializing in protecting the existence of emperors and kings, with an attack power of 1 and a health value of 2. They must not leave the emperor and the overlord for 1 space, and the attack distance is also 1 space. Sacrificial, the chess piece that controls our army's army, the attack power is 0, and the health value is you can call and carry the army. You can only carry this piece at a time. If it is killed, it will become the enemy's sacrifice. The attack power increases by 1. General, the attack power is 2 and the health value is 1. You can kill all the pieces, but remember, the general cannot detect the stealth range. Dead corpse has 0 attack power and 0 health, but it can be destroyed with the opponent's health below 2, including 2 pieces, and cannot be destroyed with the emperor or king, and it must be within 1 square of the corpse, which can be cracked by scouts. Wipe out. Scout has no attack power, and has 1 HP. It can detect the enemy's situation. It can take 1 round to wipe out the corpse. Any ghosts on the scout's cross route will appear and cannot be attacked. The sentry has no attack power and no life value. Every time you move, it will randomly drop weapons and other treasures on the 12 chess pieces on the field. They cannot be killed, but the treasures can be picked up by the enemy. Ghost, a stealth unit, with an attack power of 1 and a health value of 1. It will automatically appear when it is close to the enemy's 2 squares. The invisible state cannot be attacked unless it is discovered by a scout. The evil scholar said incessantly. In that case, let's start. Xiao Yang sat slightly on the white throne, and an extremely serious expression appeared. This chessboard game has to be won no matter what. Finally, a friendly reminder to you. The people on the chessboard are deprived of all their power. They are like mortals. Their fighting skills, holy flames, etc. will fall from the path of the post, and the dropped items will increase their attack power, defense power, and vitality. Let's help you with good luck. The evil enchanting scholar said gently and elegantly, as if he was not afraid of Xiao Yang at all. On the contrary, there was a touch of fanaticism in his heart. With a sound, the entire space became restless, and the black throne and the white throne center chessboard swayed rapidly, and the pieces swayed in an orderly manner. Zunna, the king. Seeing the position at the back of the white chessboard, the word king flashed above Xuna's figure. Xiao Yang was relieved. It seems that this battle must be carried out with the protection of Xuna as the core, but Xiao Yang found that he could clearly see the people in the Forest of Death, but he was unable to communicate with Xuna and the others. Guard, the two elders, Bronze and Jiyu Yulon. After a flickering moment, Xuna and the two spirit elders were also crawling together. They were very close to Xuna, and the words behind them indicated their identities. Sacrificial sacrifice, Jiyu Yuan. General, Jiyu Yuan and Great Elder Jiyu Tianyang. The corpse, the two who manage the affairs of the ancients, Jiyu Qing and Jiyu Li. Scout, the two commanders of the Imperial Army, Jiyu Li and Jiyu Shu. Post, Ghost, Peerless Emperor. Seeing that all the pieces here were slowly taking shape, Xiao Yang kept muttering and nodding, and a shocking wave emerged. These guys, except for Jiyu Yuan, Xuna, Peerless Emperor and Jiyu Yuan, the other 8 are all spirits, and they are highly respected powerhouses among the ancients. Their strength reaches the ranks of the 8-star fighting immortals, and they are now selected as White Fang Chizi. I am afraid that the evil spirit scholar's intentions are very obvious. He wanted to torture himself with the chessboard of life and death, so that he could witness the fall of these powerhouses with his own eyes. It's time to start playing chess. After everything was ready, the evil scholar said gracefully. On the black side, except for the wrong positions of the 4 people, the other 8 are exactly the same as white. On the white chessboard is their soul body, while on the black side is their body, the body controlled by the foreign evil race. In addition, the remaining 4 were also replaced by the 4 powerhouses from the extraterritorial evil clan. The Emperor Heifang is the source of evil that controls Jiyu Yuan. This guy is a capable leader of the Siemai scholar. Qin Mo, who is now thrown into the chessboard of life and death by the Siemai scholar, is also complaining a lot. Sacrifice, chess magician, mid-stage powerhouse of the 8-star fighting immortals. One of the generals, the book demon, is a mid-stage powerhouse of the 8-star fighting immortals. Ghosts, painting demons, mid-stage powerhouses of the 8-star fighting immortals. For a time, the entire chessboard was extremely quiet, and the chessboard itself was the Forest of Death. At this moment, the Forest of Death, the land rose up, turning it into a chessboard, and a magnificent momentum in the forest restrained them. All power, whether it is white or black, can only stay in place quietly. There are many squares in the chessboard, and there is a river boundary in the center. If you cross the boundary, you will face the opponent's attack. You can only place it in this way. The movement and attack distance are 3 squares. That's it. Soon, Xiao finished placing his chess pieces, his eyes became deep, and an unprecedented solemnity emerged. And when Xiao Yang placed the chess pieces, the bodies of Xuna and the others in the Forest of Death were also affected by an inexplicable force. They couldn't resist, they could only praise silently and trust Xiao Yang. The entire chessboard has 8 rows and 10 steps, with a total of 80 squares, and Xiao Yang's way of placing the pieces is also extremely strange, placing 12 squares on the left and right edges, leaving the center all empty. When he successfully reached the top of the Forest of Death, a terrifying scene washed over Xiao Yang's sight, and Xiao Yang couldn't help but murmured while watching that scene, "This lunatic. This lunatic." Xiao Yang climbed to the top of the Forest of Death, and looked down at the entire Forest of Death. The Forest of Death in front of you is extremely huge, and its entirety is clearly not a forest, but more like a huge chessboard. The only difference is that there are no chess pieces on the chessboard, only forest-like plants and some humans. The entire chessboard is complete left and right symmetry, the center is separated by a river boundary, each is divided into 8 rows, each row has a 10th order grid. In the Forest of Death, the blood-filled ground looked unusually flat. Every grid on the chessboard, and even around every stronghold, were looming with regular cracks. The chessboard is divided into 2 sides, black and white, which is very strange, but reveals a strong sense of unease. Welcome to successfully pass the test of the Forest of Death. After a while, the shock on Xiao Yang's face still did not dissipate. Zaidu was drawn from the Forest of Death and returned to the ancient square. The light in front of him turned, Xiao Yang looked at the white throne in front of him, and the evil scholar on the black throne opposite. Looking at the center of the Erdao throne, a projection of the Death Forest appeared over the chessboard, trying to restrain himself. The anger in his body whispered softly. Because Xiao Yang's strength is limited now, even if he fights desperately, he is probably just giving up his life in vain, so it is better to use the chessboard to decide the outcome. However, Xiao Yang found that on the other side of the Forest of Death, countless human bodies, including the body of the evil source himself Bronze who had just controlled Jiyu Yuan, were actually thrown into it. Obviously, they were also evil and charming scholars. Chips are thrown into it. How? Have you never seen this kind of near-perfect art? Seeing Xiao Yang's calm expression, the evil scholar couldn't help but smile. Among the evil tribes outside the realm, he is the best choice in terms of strength and wisdom. He has also killed many geniuses in the world, but no one can be as calm as Xiao Yang. In this game, it's up to me to fight against you. Xiao Yang was too lazy to pay attention to it, because he knew that on his shoulders, he was not only carrying his own life, but also his wife Zuna, the people of the ancient clan, etc. Countless lives. The pressure increased greatly for a time. You have to think clearly. Once the white throne is seated, the chessboard will start immediately. The evil scholar smiled evilly. With a sound, Xiao Yang moved his body and sat on the white throne with ease. As soon as he sat on it, a destructive aura swept out, as if Xiao Yang's life and death had been locked with the outcome of the chessboard. Okay. Since that's the case, let's start our final game art. After the evil spirit scholar finished speaking, he waved his hand, and a jade chessboard was thrown directly at the center of the two. With a sound, the jade chessboard shattered and divided into two beams, one black and the other white, which crossed the space and went directly to the two teams in the Forest of Death. It is screening the chessboard and rearranging it, and the respective army chips in the Forest of Death will form the pieces of the chessboard this time. The dark armor is still protecting Xiao Yang, and there are only countless arts in the eyes of the evil and charming scholar, and naturally there is no aware of the existence of the latter. Dark Hades was surprised. Creak creak. At the same time, with the appearance of this scene, the entire Forest of Death trembled violently. On the bright red ground, neat and smooth lines emerged one after another, and one after another grid was uncontrolled. Emerges from the ground, divides the Death Forest to form a chessboard, and the entire space is filled with an irresistible divine power. What's going on? Seeing this, Jiu Yuan, Zuna and the others hurriedly panicked, watching tens of thousands of spiritual bodies scattered around uncontrollably, and their bodies were also scattered by an incomprehensible divine force. We are all chess pieces. Jiu Yuan's eyes revealed an endless desolation. He raised his head suddenly, and stared away at the sky of the Forest of Death. This is 12-fingered chess, and it is also a life and death chessboard. Friendly reminder, once a person dies on the chessboard, they cannot be resurrected. Looking at Xiao Yang's calm expression, the evil spirit scholar's body was indescribably happy. In his eyes, the more calm a person is, the greater the pressure, and for such an opponent, to overcome the opponent and watch the last life-saving straw be extinguished, the roar of grief at the moment of death is the real perfect art. What I'm looking for is the disgust of the huge gap, that kind of going from a high-level, confident look to a lost soul, like a dead body. Let's talk about the rules. Xiao Yang was indeed as Xiecham scholar expected. The pressure increased greatly, and his calmness was just to cover up the uneasiness and fear in his body. Too much. Too many innocent lives. Ever since he came to the Great Thousand World, whether it was because of the unsolved mysteries of the Xiao family or something else, Xiao Yang would tremble every time in front of such a big situation. He was afraid that he could not do well, that he would fail, that he would betray the trust of countless strong people. Xiao Yang in the past was definitely not like this, but the sudden increase in pressure and the heavy burden on his body made Xiao Yang feel a huge burden. The gameplay of this chessboard is somewhat similar to Lu Zhanqi. Each side has 12 pieces, and the identity behind the pieces is known only to the respective players. This chessboard not only tests the strength of the board, but also tests the courage of both sides. Mingqi is more terrifying and exciting. Now that you're ready, let's start. The corners of the evil enchanting scholar's mouth became frenzied, and every time he had a life and death chessboard test, it would be like this, because in his eyes, the subordinates behind him were just ants who devote themselves to art. Haven't experienced this feeling in a long time. Here. Time passed quickly, Xiao Yang's whole body became tense, his spirits lifted to the top, and he immediately took the lead. Xiao Yang first moved the last post Jiu towards the center of the chessboard by 3 squares. The moving position was obviously a straight line, and he was in his own faction. Even if some weapons fell on the path of the post, they would avoid being picked up by the opponent. Hee. Seeing Xiao Yang's actions, the evil scholar smiled coldly, and immediately a chess piece crossed the river boundary and came to Xiao Yang's camp. The entire chessboard was divided into 8 rows and 10 columns on the left and right, and in order to prevent the opponent from attacking rashly, Xiao Yang completely left the first 3 rows at the river boundary empty. Zhu Xian Chong Mingyang, +1 health? Looking at the fierce offensive of the evil and charming scholar, Xiao Yang suddenly noticed that a token flashed out just as he passed by the post. Naturally, this thing is not the source of holy flame, but just a path on the board of life and death, but no one can break the rules of the board of life and death. Oh, it's a good thing, but if you don't pick it up for 3 rounds, it will disappear automatically. So, have you decided who to give it to? Scholar Xiamai did not expect Xiao Yang to be so lucky, and immediately laughed, but it was also a matter of time. The location and identity of Xiao Yang's post were determined. White Fang's post, Gu Give it to you. Seeing this, Xiao Yang didn't look shocked, and immediately gave this thing to one of the generals, Jiyu Tianyang, so Jiyu Tianyang's attack power was 2 and his health value was 2. Here at this moment, Xiao Yang deliberately moved Jiyu Tianyang to the back position, creating a pair of "This is my king," giving him health protection, and pulling it back to hide in the snow. This guy. Seeing Xiao Yang's way of playing chess, the evil and charming scholar became suspicious. Normally, with a treasure like life value +1, ordinary people would naturally give it to their respective kings to ensure their survivability, but the feeling that Xiao Yang gave to Xiamai scholar was not so simple. Here. After some hesitation, the Xiecham scholar took all his pieces across the river and entered Xiao Yang's camp. The space offensive seemed to be aimed at killing Xiao Yang's pieces. Net. This guy, what a fierce offensive. Seeing this, Xiao Yang immediately frowned. Relying on the experience of the Dark Scholar, Xiao Yang has no doubts about the authenticity of the words spoken by the evil and charming scholar. Once the strong man falls in the chessboard of life and death, I am afraid it is the real fall, and Xiao Yang wants to guarantee the wrong life of the 12 people, has been taking defense as offense, but the more Xiao Yang is like this, the more proud the face of the evil and charming scholar. It seems that he has already guessed Xiao Yang's thoughts. At this moment, there is still no loss on the life and death chessboard, but the battle of 1 attack and 1 defense, I am afraid that it will not last long, and it will collapse in an instant, because the Xiamai scholar is obviously a master of chess, and his aggressive attack the method is astonishing. For a while, Xiao Yang's pressure increased greatly. It seemed that no matter how realistically he created a blindfold to lure the evil and charming scholar into being fooled, and tried to take the opportunity to attack, he would be perfectly seen through, and Xiao Yang's camp had already the 6 chess pieces covered with evil and charming scholars are in danger. Of the 6 pieces, Xiao Yang only analyzed the exact identities of the 2 pieces. The scout was Jiyu Shu's body, and the dead body was Jiyu Qing's body. As for the other 4, they were not detected due to their constant defense. On the other hand, Scholar Xia Enchanted has detected all 5 pieces of Xiao Yang's chess pieces, and because of the special nature of the ghost pieces, they did not disappear until they were detected. At the same time, in the Forest of Death. On the chessboard, the wind and waves seemed calm, but in fact, there was a monstrous rain of blood in the Forest of Death. In the Forest of Death, people moved one after another. Although they fought each other and even knew each other, they didn't know each other's identity at all. Every time they moved, every time they tried, there would be a burst of sigh. Damn. I can't go on like this. The peerless Heavenly Emperor, King Zunna, and the 2 guards were quite close, and the peerless Heavenly Emperor couldn't help but said, "Brother Xiao Yang is too cautious, we will all be slowly eaten away by the evil and charming scholars." Zunna also nodded thoughtfully. She naturally knew that Xiao Yang was so timid to let more people live. He is here to let more of us live. But the life and death chessboard cannot be left unscathed, and the opponent is a strong chess player. The 2 guards, Bronze and Jiyu Yulon, looked at each other. "Brother Xiao Yang, let's give it a shot. No matter whether we succeed or fail, we have no regrets." Zunna knew Xiao Yang very well, and immediately raised his head to the sky and let out a long roar. Wong buzzing. Although Xiao Yang was unable to communicate with them, Zunna's voice unreservedly reached Xiao Yang's ears, and Xiao Yang's body suddenly trembled, as if he understood something. "Then let's start the counterattack." Xiao Yang seemed to have made a big decision. Instead of worry and fear in his eyes, an unprecedented majestic fighting spirit emerged, directly with a general ancient Tian Yang, the sacrifice of Jiyu Yuan and a scout Jiyu Li, entered the camp of the evil and charming scholar, but Xiao Yang secretly carried a chess piece on the sacrifice chess piece. "Oh, have you started a counterattack? That's how it's interesting." Seeing Xiao Yang's 180-degree turn, the Xiecham scholar stopped sneering and became serious. "Attack." Xiao Yang moved the general Jiyu Tianyang directly, and attacked the opponent with a dark chess piece, no doubt showing his fierce suffocation. Through the battle just now, Xiao Yang had probably guessed that this piece was the enemy's guard. Black chess piece, the health value is reduced by 2. An ancient Sanskrit sound, like a combination of dark power and evil power, sounded on the chessboard, and the power was unrivaled. The guard's original health value was 2. Now that he was attacked by the general, his health value had dropped to 0, but he did not disappear. If he wanted to disappear, only if his health value reached a negative number. No, we must return to defense. Seeing Xiao Yang suddenly turn from offense to defense, Scholar Xia Enchantment felt a huge pressure. Ancient Immortal Ruler. Add 1 attack power. Attack. The orderly instructions were carried out slowly under Xiao Yang's dignified expression. After a while, the 2 guards of the black side were completely beheaded by Xiao Yang. On the other hand, Xiao Yang's place was still 12 chess pieces. Only among them, the general chess piece Jiyu Tianyang has 0 health, and if he is attacked, he will probably fall completely. Jiyu Tianyang is the great elder of the ancient clan, and his strength is close to that of the 8-star fighting immortal. He was brought into them from the black side when the chessboard was in chaos. Xiao Yang did not want to let him fall. After all, such power was for the ancient clan. Has an important position. After killing my 2 generals, do you still want to run? The army called back, and the Xiecham scholar completely wrapped Xiao Yang's chess pieces. Damn, I'm being careless. Looking at this appearance, Xiao Yang also understood that this guy was laying a long line and catching big fish. He immediately used 2 guards to attract him, so he wanted to behead his general chess piece, and he was evil and charming. The scholar guessed that the sacrificial chess pieces were loaded with king chess, so the killing was so fierce. This time, I'll see how you can stop it. The next moment, the corpse and the scout moved forward, attacking Xiao Yang's chess piece, trying to detect the corpse and the ghost to ensure that their attack was foolproof. In the forest of death, Jiyu Tianyan's spirit body looked at the gloomy suffocating qi around him, looking at his dying health, and immediately looked at Jiyu Yuan, the priest beside him, and sneered. Little brother Xiao Yang, let go and attack. Even if this old man dies, he will drag one of the other generals to his death. My ancient man, there has never been a person who is greedy for life and fear of death. Jiyu Tianyan's high-pitched voice contained a hint of madness. He naturally knew his situation, but in order to let Xiao Yang help the ancients to tide over the difficulties, he acted as a great elder. It's hard to blame. Attack. Xiao Yang moved General Jiyu Tianyan's chess piece with difficulty, and attacked the enemy general's chess piece, Shumo. The book demon had only 1 health left, and was attacked by a checker with an attack power of 2, and instantly annihilated. Black Shogun, Shumo, White Shogun, Jiyu Tianyang, the health is exhausted, remove the chessboard. The icy chilling voice rang out, and then both bodies disappeared at the same time. As the figures on the chessboard just disappeared, in the forest of death, the bodies of the 2 were instantly shattered like glass. No trace of breath or soul power was left behind, and they completely disappeared here. This kind of disappearance, or death, or fall, I am afraid that only the legendary strong angels have a chance of resurrection. Damn it. Seeing that Xiao Yang's dying general chess piece actually gave him a big general chess piece, the evil scholar couldn't help roaring. I am a sheep entering the tiger's mouth. Senior, I'm sorry. Tears welled up in Xiao Yang's eyes. Jiyu Tianyan's righteousness is definitely not something that ordinary humans can do. He used his own sacrifice to pave the way for Xiao Yang's victory. Today, Xiao Yang still has 11 chess pieces left, while the Xiecham scholar has only 9 pieces left. I can't believe you can keep doing this forever. Look at me. While speaking, the evil spirit scholar walked over the river boundary with all his breath behind him, and roared at Xiao Yang incessantly. For a time, the sacrificial chess pieces in the local camp in the depths of Xiao Yang remained motionless, which seemed to be a conspiracy trap. Xiao Yang was betting on whether the scholar's judgment was correct. The Siemai scholar obviously wanted to mobilize all the pieces to intercept Xiao Yang's retreat. If Xiao Yang's sacrificial pieces were equipped with king pieces, I am afraid that this time the life and death chessboard has already won or lost, but if the sacrificial body is not the king, I am afraid the evil and charming scholar will also be self-defeating. For a time, in the whole battle situation, the power of the evil enchanted scholar became weaker and weaker, and the entire life and death chessboard was entering the final moment. Don't underestimate me. Seeing that he was already at a disadvantage in the chessboard, the evil scholar immediately showed his superb chess skills. Directly recall all the chess pieces, even the ghost pieces detected by Xiao Yang, and mobilize them together to return to their camp, and besiege all of Xiao Yang's chess pieces that have penetrated deep behind the enemy. The scouts, the dead corpses, and all the chess pieces including the sacrificial generals were mobilized, and they were aggressive, obviously preparing to launch a terrifying attack. In the forest of death, Jiyu Yuan and the others looked at the chess pieces moving violently around, and immediately heaved a sigh of relief. Elder Jiyu Tianyan's sacrifice is worth it. The yin wind roared all around, and the stench of wind blowing towards them washed their hearts, but they did not have any fear, and now only this fainted skill can bring the situation back. It's finally here. Seeing that the evil enchanting scholar was really fooled, Xiao Yan finally felt a trace of relief in his heart. He used the sacrifice and a few chess pieces as bait to penetrate behind the enemy's rear, and he really hit the mark. Since you are ready to launch a general attack, then I will accompany you to go crazy. Xiao Yan laughed, several pieces behind him slowly wriggled, and walked directly across the river to attack the enemy. Strange, no wonder the sacrificial chess piece is not the king. If this is the case, I'm afraid our situation. Seeing that Xiao Yan was also mobilizing all the pieces, he knew that his situation was not good, and the contempt on the corner of his mouth finally calmed down, and an unprecedented worry filled it. Scared? The sacrificial chess piece, come out for me. Seeing this scene, Xiao Yan roared violently. Immediately, the dim light above the sacrificial chess piece shone brightly, and a chess piece was slowly released. Is it the king? Feeling the majestic chess pieces emerging from the sacrificial chess pieces, the evil and charming scholar hurriedly asked. Attack me. Xiao Yan ignored it, and immediately controlled the new unit that emerged from the sacrificial chess pieces to attack the evil scholar. Crack. A shattering voice emerged, and the pieces in the evil enchanting scholar's camp were eaten away by Xiao Yang, and Xiao Yang was extremely smart, just stuck his piece at the limit of 1 or 0 health. Superior. The general chess piece. Seeing that he lost 3 chess pieces in do, Xiamai scholar also knew that this time he lost. General, you lost. Xiao Yang surrounded the last few pieces of the Xiecharm scholar in one fell swoop, and immediately found the emperor and surrounded him. Fortunately, this time there was no danger, but this life and death chessboard caused Xiao Yang to lose Jiyu Tianyang, the great elder of the ancient clan, and Jiyu Li. I have a chance to regain a city, otherwise without the sacrifice of the two, I am afraid. And what Xiao Yang didn't expect the most was that the evil and charming scholar was so arrogant that he actually used the emperor's chess piece as a pawn, which made Xiao Yang tremble for a while. Seeing the failure of the life and death chessboard, the evil scholar's voice became evil. A frantic wave roared out slowly, his eyes only shrank, and they sank directly. Those eyes were extremely scary and eerie. This guy. Seeing this, Xiao Yang quickly became vigilant to prevent the evil spirit scholar from using any conspiracy and tricks. The life and death chessboard is over, and white wins. The black side is defeated. A long voice slowly emerged, and then the world trembled suddenly, a supreme black light from the sky, like a black shadow that dominates the dark world, the void is not affected by it. The control collapsed, and above the shadow, the palm suddenly opened, and a slap slapped the evil spirit scholar. With a sound, the evil spirit scholar didn't have any time to react. His body, soul, and even his entire body of evil power were instantly smashed by him, turned into countless dark sand grains, and completely submerged here. I'm afraid this guy didn't even think that he would die. The so-called perfect art is actually at the cost of his own life. At the same time, in the forest of death, the chessboard also collapsed. The bodies of those ancient powerhouses who were attached and controlled by evil forces first trembled, and a trace of evil aura left their bodies, and was suddenly dominated by this dark world. Take it back. That's the King of Darkness, the supreme ruler of the underworld, and a strong man who stands shoulder to shoulder with the King of the underworld. His power has surpassed the entire world. What he likes most is to create some weird tools similar to the chessboard of life and death, giving some creatures enough power to appreciate this game, so as to earn the soul and life of the loser of the game. The underworld, as a creature in the underworld, cannot be supernatural forever. The dark underworld master looked at this looming shadow and couldn't help but said to Xiao Yang, "Interesting guy." The black shadow, the ruler of the dark world, gave Xiao Yang a slight look, and suddenly took away countless evil auras. The cracks in the void tore open, slowly disappeared, and returned to the underworld. Wang buzzing. With such a slight swipe from him, Xiao Yang only felt that 5 thunders suddenly hit the top, and the blood in his body became extremely cold. An aura of death suppressed him from the ground up, making him unable to move. The ruler of the world can easily kill him with a casual glance. It's over. The death forest chessboard collapsed, and it turned into a normal forest. The dark matter sand grains on Zuna and others slowly disappeared, their bodies floated up slightly, and vaguely returned to the ancient square. Above. After the rest, in the ancient square. We won. Tens of thousands of elders couldn't help looking at Xiao Yang's deadlocked body on the altar, and muttered dryly at the corners of their mouths. Well, I won. Jiyu Yuan and the others looked at each other, This time the name Xiao Yan was unforgettable. The life and death chessboard just now seemed to be short-lived, but only the people who were the chess pieces knew the situation of a near-death situation. It was no less than returning from the gate of hell. If it weren't for the sacrifices of several elders and Xiao Yang's superior chess skills, I'm afraid. Elders and clansmen, go back to your body. The ancient clan suffered a big change and restore the order of the ancient world. You have to trouble the elders. Zunna's body floated up and went to Xiao Yang at the altar of the sky. Brother Xiao Yang, are you alright? Zunna gently came to Xiao Yang and asked with a caring face. Her skin was white and pink, and it looked extremely dazzling under the sunlight, like a noble and beautiful lady, graceful and elegant. Extremely. Fine. Zunna, let's release the holy flame together to purify the last trace of evil here. Xiao Yang forcibly held back the abnormality in his body. The underworld was too involved. He didn't want Zunna to worry, so he gently pulled Zunna's body with slender jade hands. On the two of them, the dazzling holy flames slowly rose from the ancient city in the sky, shining like a piercing sun, illuminating the entire ancient world. The weird aura in our body disappeared. The tiny hole in the neck also disappeared. Long live the ancients. The millions of ordinary people below roared slowly, and immediately knelt down and worshipped the many ancient strong men in the ancient city of the sky. This time, the catastrophe of the ancient clan has just ended. Although there is no danger, it is still chilling. I am afraid that no one wants to repeat this terrifying chessboard of life and death. This video will end here.